Now we know Eveliina because of those phenomenally poor putts, but there is so much more to her than just a couple bad putts. Let's talk about why I believe she might be able to sneak a European Open win. Alright, so we just had the PCS Open, basically like the first entryway into European disc golf for the year, unless you're Paul, in which case you're semi-shredding, semi-not shredding. It's kind of a weird dichotomy there. But for FPO, we really have not got to see too much elite level players because they really have just been playing in the US. So now we finally get to see Eveliina in her true element, and I don't fully understand how she can be such a dominant putter in Europe, but it really just does seem to be the trend. The last time she was in Europe, she had phenomenal circle one putts, and this seems to be continuing the trend because last week she was totally outstanding in her circle one and circle two putts. So before we actually talk about Eveliina's strengths, let's go over her competition. So I would say it really just is between Katrina Allen, Missy Gannon, and Kristin Tattar. Obviously, Katrina Allen doesn't really seem to have the fight in her at the moment, so I don't really think she'll be that much in contention for the win, but she is a phenomenal player and can play very consistent, so it is possible, but I'm just going to put her out of really the mix. So I believe the podium will be the same as it was last week: Missy Gannon, Kristin Tattar, and Eveliina Salonen. So Missy Gannon, I think, has a very consistent game. I'm not going to say it's phenomenal, but I think it's very consistent. Her drives are pretty good. She doesn't go out of bounds that often. Her putts are very, very good, but I think her distance is a little bit lacking. I think her overall play style just doesn't really match up well with a 4-rounder major, but she is big money Missy and she has won a major before, so what's to say she's not going to get one this time? But if trends are anything to go by, then I think her play as of late hasn't really matched up to what you need to be if you want to be winning some of these events, especially the European Open. So now on to the big two, European versus European. Obviously Kristin Tattar is the most decorated player as far as modern disc golf goes. Obviously Paige has a lot more wins, but in the modern era there is basically nobody that can contend with Kristin's playstyle. So basically, if it wasn't for her last couple of rounds and tournaments not being her top tier skill level, then I would say it was a no contest. Kristin will just win in dominant fashion. But that was not the case at PCS, and it actually shows that she has a couple of flaws in her game, and consistency being one of them.
It was not my better days.
Matching Eveliina's final round, they both shot 960. And if you're somebody like Kristin that averages over 1,000 a couple events this year, 960 just really will not cut it. And I think it is very, very bizarre to see this in Kristin because we know she is such a great player. I'm not going to say that she is not the favorite, but if we're trying to look for potentially crazy things happening, I definitely think that Kristin faltering a little bit in this tournament definitely lends credence to her potentially faltering in the European Open. And even though I did mention that she does have issues with consistency sometimes, with it being a 4-rounder major, I think having that extra round will definitely give her a little bit of wiggle room if she needs it, because it is just so often the case that at least one player will go OB a couple of times during a round and kind of just make themselves out of contention. But this is upset time, so it is really all about what I believe to be the craziest potential major winner, Eveliina Salonen, the person that a lot of people just straight up forgot about. I don't really blame you, she's not been in the mix too often, but like Charlie Eisen had said,
Salonen back in the mix.
Alright, so now on to Eveliina time. I did not foresee this being the case, but I know that she was such a dominant thrower throughout the season that doesn't really surprise me to see her so good in these European tournaments. Obviously, we just have one tournament to go by, not a great sample size, but Eveliina is somebody that can really surprise you because if you've just watched like the lowlights of her putting, then yeah, she may not seem like the best player, but what you don't see is how phenomenal she is when she doesn't even have to putt because she is a top tier thrower off the tee. She gets so many number one parked percentages because she is a great thrower, and not only that, but she has the best distance basically in all of FPO with maybe the exception of Ella Hansen, but I think it's pretty neck and neck. And just looking at her Waco putting, it looks pretty bad, and I almost don't even believe it because it is just such a crazy increase. But looking at Waco compared to last week at PCS, it is just night and day with putting. At Waco, she was 31% from circle one and lost 21 strokes gained putting. And then we move on to the PCS, and it is 68% circle one and a 16% circle two percentage. Obviously, these aren't great numbers, but when you are the best of the best off the tee pad, then these putts really matter. And instead of negative 21 strokes gained putting, she is only negative 0.93. We take that is effectively even. She is not losing hardly any strokes off the putting, and it really was the case that if she just managed to get a little bit better on the putting green, then she would be become one of the greats. And I truly believe that if Kristin does have a couple of bad rounds, then Eveliina can really sneak up, get her win. I would love to see it. I don't think she has any other wins on tour, so to see this would be really, really awesome. And with her first round of the PCS being over 1,000 rated, I truly believe that her potential is sky high. And actually looking at the stats, she does have a couple of wins on tour, but definitely not ones that you would expect her to have. She won Kona Peach Day in 2018, and she actually won Waco in 2020. I did not remember that. That is totally insane. Her and Colton definitely won in a very unusual fashion. So overall, with her elite level throws and her putting skyrocketing, I really believe that she can have a consistent round, averaging about 980 for all 4 rounds, which I believe is what you need to get the win. It would definitely be a long shot, but I believe that it is definitely possible, and I would love to see it. Let me know what you guys think. I know that a lot of you just think of Eveliina as just a bad putter, but she is so much more than that. And I look forward to seeing how she performs on the big stage. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Wild Runs signing out. Peace.